The New York Giants did not just finish the preseason undefeated. They did it with a statement that has the whole league paying attention. A 42-10 win over the New England Patriots capped off a perfect 3-0 stretch. But the real story is not the score. It is how this team suddenly looks sharper, faster, and more confident than anyone expected in August. Preseason games are supposed to be tune-ups, yet the Giants walked out of every matchup looking like a team ready to break into September with momentum that cannot be ignored. What makes this so intriguing is that none of it was fueled by the regular starters. These were backups, rookies, and role players lighting up defenses and putting 30-plus points on the board in every single game. The Giants scored a total of 107 points this preseason, more than they put up in the final 5 games of last year combined. That is not a coincidence. It is a reflection of a system coming together and young talent seizing its chance. And when confidence builds like this, it often spills over when the games start to count. But the biggest storyline is the quarterback room, where every name from Jackson Dart to Tommy DeVito delivered something worth talking about. Dart showed flashes of leadership and poise, Winston added veteran spark, and DeVito turned in one of his best performances in blue. The Giants are suddenly rich at the most important position in football, and that creates both excitement and tough decisions. So let's start with the rookie, who is changing the conversation around this franchise, Jackson Dart. But before we get into that, hit that like and subscribe button for more Giants and all the NFL content. Let's aim for 350 likes on this video. The New York Giants just watched a rookie take control of the field like he has been here for years, and that changes the whole conversation. Jackson Dart got the ball out fast, worked through reads, and kept the rhythm of the offense alive, even when throws had to hit tight windows. The line on the sheet says he went 6 of 12 for 81 yards with a touchdown, but the eye test says the ball was on time and on target while the offense moved with purpose. When a first-year quarterback looks calm in the pocket and decisive in the quick game, you pay attention because that is how jobs are won. But here's the twist that turns a good night into a lesson. On a scramble that should have ended with a simple slide, Dart kept fighting for extra yards and took a hit that sent him to the medical tent. He was cleared and returned, yet the message is clear. Protect the ball, protect your body, protect the drive. Everything else about his summer points in the right direction. Across the preseason, he completed 68% of his passes for 372 yards, with 3 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, and 0 interceptions, with an adjusted completion of 77.8%. Those are winning traits, and if he adds a smart slide at the end of runs, the floor rises even more. What nobody is talking about is how that one fix could speed up the timeline for the whole room. If the rookie is already this steady, what happens when the veterans add their fire on top of it? The next part of the story is where it gets even more interesting, because Jameis Winston and Tommy DeVito just raised the standard for what the Giants can expect every week. The New York Giants just turned a position of concern into a strength that can swing real games, and it happened fast. With Russell Wilson on standby, the depth behind him stepped into the spotlight and raised the standard for the whole offense. This is the kind of internal pressure that turns a good camp into a roster with real bite, because every throw now carries competition and confidence at the same time. Jameis Winston walked in and fired a strike that reminded everyone why experience matters in tight windows. Then Tommy DeVito took the wheel and kept piling on clean series, finishing 17 of 20 for 3 touchdowns while staying calm in the pocket and quick with his decisions. That combination does more than fill a chart. It changes how coaches can call a game, it protects the season if plans shift, and it pushes a rookie like Jackson Dart to keep sharpening his own tempo and situational awareness. When your second and third options look this ready, every practice rep turns into real leverage on Sundays. Here is where the tension rises. Strong quarterback play only becomes a weapon if the targets answer the call, and a few of them just made their case in bold ink. One deep ball to Jalen Hyatt flipped his night. Gunnar Olszewski kept finding space inside, and the tight ends kept showing up in the paint. The question now is simple and juicy at the same time. Which pass catchers earned trust on third down and in the red zone, and who just forced the coaches to rethink the rotation? The New York Giants just turned a routine August night into a real puzzle for the coaches, because the pass catchers did not only make plays, they made cases. Nobody expected this much movement in one room, yet here we are with fresh tape that hints at a different rotation in September. The surprise is not that the ball found the end zone, the surprise is how many names earned trust when it mattered. Jalen Hyatt shook off a slow start and stacked production with 3 catches for 38 yards and a touchdown, the kind of response that builds belief. Jameis Winston put that score on a rope, while Gunnar Olszewski kept winning inside and now sits at 10 catches for 112 yards across the preseason, which matters when you also bring return value. Emir Smith-Marset added burst on design touches, and rookie Beau Collins showed clear separation even as he cleans up the finish. Then the tight ends raised the bar again, with Greg Dulcich punching in 2 touchdowns in this game and 3 touchdowns across the preseason, Thomas Fidone flashing rookie poise with a goal line feel that showed up since his 2-point grab in the opener, and Theo Johnson looking ready for heavy snaps. Daniel Bellinger remains a steady pro who can handle assignments and situational downs. Here is the part that will keep fans talking. Targets are only half the picture, because special teams value can flip the final seats and the backfield ties straight into that plan. The next battle lives behind the quarterback, where runs, screens, and return duties can decide who stays and who sits, and that is where the story goes now. The New York Giants just turned the quiet parts of a roster battle into the loudest clues, and it starts with hidden yards that decide careers. Nobody expected the backfield and return units to swing this much leverage, yet the tape shows bursts, contact balance, and field position that tilt the field. Here is the twist that makes it urgent. These snaps are not hype. They are the difference between a jersey on opening day and a phone call you never want. Dante Miller ran with purpose and patience, pressing lanes and finishing forward for 41 yards at 3.7 per carry, then popped in the screen game where timing and vision matter most. One punt ricocheted off a blocker during traffic, but that moment reads like a communication fix, not a red flag, because the rest of his night showed poise and toughness. The return race is tight. Gunnar Olszewski brings secure hands and short area quickness that flips punts into first downs, while Emir Smith-Marset adds top speed and gadget value, including direct snap looks that stress contain. Both can handle punts and kicks. So the decision comes down to total value, clean catches, and who gives you a real snap count on offense when the game tightens. All of that only works if the runway is clear, and that takes us to the group that makes every cut and crease possible. Andrew Thomas anchors the edge, John Michael Schmitz settles the middle, Greg Van Roten brings veteran control, Jermaine Eloemanor adds flexibility, and Joshua Ezeidu keeps stacking steady work. The New York Giants ended preseason with an offensive line that finally looks organized and capable of setting the tone for Week 1. Andrew Thomas anchors the edge, John Michael Schmitz directs the calls, Greg Van Roten provides balance, Jermaine Eloemanor adds versatility, and Joshua Ezeidu showed real growth, while Evan Neal continues adjusting to guard. Despite giving up 4 pressures on 22 snaps in the finale and 5 on 46 overall, the group showed progress that supports quicker throws and a sharper screen game, keeping the offense on schedule. More importantly, a steady front fuels complementary football, which was evident as the defense held New England to 3.1 yards per carry with strong edge pressure and tackling, setting the stage for both sides to tilt the field in the Giants' favor. The New York Giants delivered a defensive performance built on consistency rather than one-off highlights, holding New England to 110 yards on 35 carries at just 3.1 yards per rush with tight lanes, sealed edges, and clean tackling across the secondary. Rookie Trace Ford continued his breakout with 7 pressures on 56 snaps this preseason. Cordale Flott showed poise and coverage, and Art Green added physical stops, while TJ Moore provided a pick 6 before suffering an injury that drew the team's full support. This steady defensive floor not only proves the unit's readiness, but also raises tough roster questions as final cuts approach, with edge depth, special teams value, and secondary spots likely determined by who sustains that standard heading into Week 1 against Washington. Now the focus swings to Washington, and the plan is simple on paper yet demanding on the grass. Keep the quick game sharp, lean into the screen menu that worked all August, use motion to stress rules, and let play action buy clean windows. On defense, hold edges, rally to the ball, and force long drives that test patience. Here is my ask to you. Which quarterback mix would you carry into Week 1? Who wins the return job between Gunnar Olszewski and Emir Smith-Marset? Which tight end group gives the best red zone punch? Drop your picks and your bold call for Washington in the comments, then be ready for the full roster reveal because the next update could change everything.